I have a question. What has more saturated fat, lard or coconut oil? Well, coconut oil has 90% saturated fat, and lard has only 40% saturated fat. The rest is monounsaturated, which is up to 50%, just like olive oil, which is mostly monounsaturated. But the bigger question is, why would you be concerned anyway about saturated fat? Well, because we were completely put in fear about saturated fats for about, 5 to 6 decades based on a lie. Now, I'm not going to get into the details, but in the 50s, there was a scientist who did a study and omitted some information in the study, and that led to a false conclusion, which then started an entire campaign to get millions of people off of fat, okay, and put a lot of people on medication. Recently, the new dietary guidelines finally changed their viewpoint about cholesterol as well as fats. Said when you have increased cholesterol, it does not increase your risk of heart disease. You don't have to worry about total cholesterol because it's not associated with heart disease. And so, of course, this is buried, right? Well, it's embarrassing to actually have to say that we were wrong for 50, 60 years. The problem is that we are literally, it's ingrained in our minds that we have to avoid saturated fats. I remember in college, I was eating bacon and I would take these napkins and just press out all this extra fat, right? Because I just, I didn't even know I was doing it, but just try to get rid of the extra fat because I didn't want clogged arteries as I was eating a big pizza and pasta on a regular basis. Now, there was a study recently, well, actually, it was a combination of 17 studies. These were observational studies, which are not nearly as credible because you're just observing someone's diet. You're not really isolating certain factors. So the credibility is pretty low. But what was interesting about this were two things. Number one, there wasn't an increased risk of cancer or cancer death. And secondly, they compared this with another study in Spain that didn't show an increased risk of cardiovascular death, probably because they used olive oil instead of some of the seed oils that they use in the US. Here's the problem. When you actually cook seed oils, corn oil, soy oil, canola, cottonseed, you actually make trans fats. And then when you reheat it, you make more trans fats. And trans fats definitely create some serious damage. Then when you actually combine this fat with heat, with carbohydrates or starch, like a French fry, you get another toxic chemical called acrylamide. And then you make also other things that cause the proteins to be very, very sticky and create a lot of problems in your heart. And so it's really not about the fried foods. It's about the type of oil and the combination of what you're frying and eating with that meal. Are you doing carbohydrates and sugar? Or are you just doing something fried that doesn't have that sugar? But the bottom line is I think it's going to take some time to literally unbrainwash people about this saturated fat not being the culprit, okay? So if you're new to my channel, I put some links down below of where you should get started to learn some actual facts about this topic. Thanks for watching. Hey, before you leave, I just wanted to give you a little quick history on some of the books that I wrote. This was one of the first books. It's called Dr. Berg Body Shapes. It was my attempt at writing about body types. What was very interesting about this book is I actually did all the images myself. Don't ask me why. They look actually not quite as professional as some of the images that I have in the new book. But anyway, this is my first attempt right here called Dr. Berg's Body Shape Diets. And then I wrote a book more extensive called The 7 Principles of Fat Burning. I don't even have a copy anymore, actually, because it's outdated. The next book, I put about 1,000 hours into this one right here called The New Body Type Guide. Major updates on the body types. I put a lot of energy into this. It has professional images, graphics, all sorts of things. Now, the problem with this book is it doesn't really describe what this is really about. Body types are only a small portion of what's in this book. And that's why I changed the name to the Healthy Keto Plan, okay? If you happen to have this book, you don't really need this book because there's only very, very minor updates. But if you don't have this, you need to get this one right here. This book goes into every single detail that you would ever want to know about. It goes into the 7 principles of fat burning. It goes into hormones, the body types, the basic keto plan. It goes into intermittent fasting. I talk about the 10 fat burning triggers and blockers and fat burning strategies with a lot of details in every single chapter. I go into body issues that interfere with losing weight. There's very few people that just have a weight problem. They have a lot of body issues, whether it's sleeping problems, stress problems, inflammation, menopause. I cover that extensively in this book. Then I talk about how to get rid of stress, and I show you a technique. Then I get into exercising. And then I have a lot of really good recipes in this book as well. So this is a good reference guide. On my website, if you get this book, you get this one free. It's called Healthy Keto and Intermittent Fasting. This is the shortcut, quick guide to this book. And the reason I created this book is to have you, within 45 minutes, learn how to do keto, okay, in intermittent fasting, exactly what you need to do. Then you can fill in the blanks with this book right here. So right now I'm doing a special. If you get this book, you get this one totally free, or you can go to Amazon and get these individually. So I just want to clarify the difference between this book and this updated one right here. If you don't have this, you need to get this right here. That way you can get the exact correct information to do it healthily.